Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Two Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something I've been noticing is a growing concern regarding how one member of the side cast has been treated in Boruto Two Blue Vortex, in particular, Orochimaru's son, Mitsuki, his clone son of himself, which is why in today's newest Naruto Explain video, I wanted to weigh in on why I strongly believe that all these complaints about Mitsuki's character in terms of how he's been handled in Two Blue Vortex have been overblown and they are not warranted at all, because it is consistent, in my opinion, with what we've seen historically in the Naruto franchise, and in all actuality, he's been handled better in Boruto Two Blue Vortex than he ever was in Boruto Naruto Next Generations, the manga. Throwing that clarification in there because I know a lot of you guys are anime only and switched over to following the manga once the Boruto Naruto Next Generations anime ended. So also, if you have not already, don't forget to check out the Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 20 review, which is up on the channel right now. We didn't get raw scans this month, so the review had to come out a couple of days after the official release. So I thank you guys for your patience and your understanding, as well as your support for the chapter reviews. I'll leave the review in the end credits and in the description box for anyone who's not seen the review yet. So with that being said, let's jump into today's video topic, which is basically why I think the Mitsuki hate that I've been seeing in the comment section for the last few videos, especially on the review, have been completely overblown. Mitsuki's handling in Boruto Two Blue Vortex is a prime example of how the Naruto franchise has traditionally developed side characters, support characters if you will, and despite some fan complaints, his character has actually been given meaningful and consistent development. So what we're going to do now is we're going to break everything down by addressing some of the key points that have been made. So first of all, Mitsuki has always been a support character in the manga. Mitsuki, while he is a fan favorite, was never positioned as a true lead character in Boruto Naruto Next Generations, especially the manga. His major moments, when you really sit down and look at them, they were spread out. Boruto versus Shojoji, he had a minor presence at the very end of the fight. He came in, used the body modification jutsu where he wrapped up Shojoji, and that was pretty much it. Team 7 versus Ao, he played a small role in that fight there. He basically played the strategy position that was given to him. And Team 7 versus Boro, he had more of a substantial role, showing teamwork and power. He's the one who made the suggestion that Sarada leads the team. He's the one who came up with the poison antidote. That was Mitsuki taking more of a true chunk in that situation. Then post Omnipotence, we saw him chasing Boruto as a direct result of his altered memories, and before that, he and Sasuke and Shikamaru prevented Kawaki from killing Boruto. But for the most part, everything he's done has been part of a team setting. In fact, again, everything in the manga outside of chasing Boruto was a team situation, and even then, he wasn't the only one trying to hunt down Boruto. Given that he has never been a true focus in the manga before, expecting Boruto Two Blue Vortex to suddenly make him a lead combatant in an extended one-on-one fight, a major one-on-one fight, it contradicts the way that his character's been used from the very start. His role, it has maintained consistency, even going as far back as what you saw in the Masashi Kishimoto Mitsuki one-shot manga, which was made to promote the Boruto manga, and you can actually read that in volume 1 of the manga. Even then, that was more so Orochimaru and Log for the highlight. Mitsuki used Sage Mode, stole the scroll, and got out of there. He's always been important, but not necessarily a dominant, prevalent force in the manga. Mitsuki has had tactical and power growth moments in Two Blue Vortex if you sit down and think about it. So even without an extended solo fight, Mitsuki has had several moments of growth, both on screen in terms of fighting as well as away from the battlefield. For instance, knocking Kawaki out with poison, it showcased his craftiness by catching someone far stronger than himself off guard. His sneak attack on Kawaki with his poison snakes are a perfect example of his crafty nature, and they're a perfect example of what the Naruto franchise taught about. Ninja must learn to see through deception, and there was a dual layer to it. Kawaki is not a shinobi. He did not see the deception coming. Kawaki is currently one of the strongest characters in the series, and Mitsuki still managed to incapacitate him briefly. It's an impressive feat, even with it being off guard, for the reason I laid out, because of the symbolism behind it. You also have the use of a prolonged Sage mode. It is a huge improvement for his previous limitations that we saw. Before, he could barely maintain it before collapsing. Now he has sustained Sage mode for entire fights. He's holding his own against base Boruto. This is significant considering that Boruto is currently stronger than Jigen, even though Boruto was suppressed in that fight. Let me stress that and restate it again. Even though Boruto was holding back in that fight, Mitsuki's performance was still notable. Ryu in that fight, Mitsuki is fighting as part of a team player. Though he could not counter Ryu's Iron Sand by himself, he still managed to land hits, significant hits, once Araya was providing the opening. He managed to make Ryu cough up blood. That is significant. If anything, if you just sit down and you think about it, Boruto Two Blue Vortex has in a very subtle way improved Mitsuki's capabilities while keeping him grounded within the story's established power scaling, and most importantly, because of how he's been approached, Mitsuki is on a sliding scale, which is what you want for a support character. You can make him as strong and relative as you need depending on the situation. Naruto as a franchise has always emphasized team battles over solo fights. When you have fans complaining about Mitsuki not getting major one-on-one screen battles, this obsession with it, those fans, they tend to seem to forget that Naruto has always prioritized teamwork. One-on-one fights were usually reserved for deeply personal battles with high emotional weight and high payoff, especially payoff that was set up as a delayed payoff. Examples that come to mind off the top of my head is Naruto versus Sasuke in both Final Valley fights, Sasuke versus Itachi, Sasuke versus Danzo. But when it came to battles against major antagonists, teamwork was always a rule. Even Naruto versus Gaara, he was fighting alongside Gamabunta at one point during that fight. All the Akatsuki fights that you saw, for the most part, Shikamaru's team versus Hidan and Kakazu. You had Konoha going up against all the Six Paths of Pain. When Naruto fought against Pain, Naruto pulled up with all the Toad summonings. He had Katsuyu giving him data and intel, even though that was a highly personal battle for Naruto. During the Fourth Great Ninja War, nearly every battle had multiple fighters contributing in the fights. Doubling down even more on the writing themes, Mitsuki's usage reflects Naruto's emphasis on team battles. The Naruto franchise, again, has always prioritized teamwork in battles rather than prolonged one-on-one fights for supporting characters. Major battles consistently featured multiple shinobi working together to take down strong opponents. This is most notable during the Fourth Great Ninja War, and I'm going to stress this part because of a point coming later on in the video. Characters like Kakashi, Guy, even the Edo Tensei Hokage, they rarely fought alone. Most of the victories were achieved through coordination, like say the battle with the Ten Tails. That was a great example. Sasuke, with most of his major fights, even when he fought against Kabuto, he had Itachi there with him. Mitsuki is basically being used to continue this approach. That battle with Ryu, it isn't a moment requiring a solo fight. There's no real payoff for that. Instead, his contributions, they're part of a larger team effort, which is fitting the franchise's established battle dynamics. Mitsuki not fighting Ryu alone is in line with how the franchise has handled battles. There's no deep personal reason for him to fight Ryu one-on-one. Not unless you start counting stuff that happened in the anime, and as we've been told by Boruto's former editor, Boruto's anime and manga should be treated the same way that Dragon Ball fans treat Dragon Ball Super. The anime and manga, they're parallel stories, but at the end of the day, they're their own continuities. Everything that happens in the anime is for the anime, and everything that happens in the manga is the manga. They overlap, but they're their own parallel stories. Expecting Mitsuki to have a solo fight, an extended solo fight against Ryu in a setting that will require teamwork, given how strong Ryu is, that would be contrary to the franchise's storytelling. Now, I want to move this on even further here. So Mitsuki has also had good character depth established in Two Blue Vortex, because what the story has been doing is focusing on Mitsuki's internal conflict over Boruto, Kawaki, and most importantly, Mitsuki's own humanity. It's another overlooked aspect in how Boruto Two Blue Vortex has reinforced Mitsuki's ongoing character arc. His sun and moon ideology has been challenged for the first time. Mitsuki originally viewed Boruto as his guiding light, but omnipotence, it erased that connection, and Boruto has slowly begun to reestablish it. This created a internal conflict where Mitsuki's loyalty, it has shifted to Kawaki instead, and now he's beginning to question that bond as far back as the first chapter. His conversation with Ada about love, it revealed his own growing struggle with understanding emotions, because at the end of the day, he is a synthetic human. He is a clone created by Orochimaru. Mitsuki has always been fascinated by human emotions and relationships, and even in Boruto's manga, we see that he tries to understand them, but doesn't fully understand human emotions. And Boruto Two Blue Vortex, it continues to explore his unique perspective on humanity. This kind of introspection is exactly the type of character development that makes him so compelling. We're seeing more of this in Boruto Two Blue Vortex than we ever saw in Boruto Naruto Next Generation's manga. His journey is progressing meaningfully rather than being forced into a role that does not fit his narrative. And because of this work that has been laid out, when you do eventually get a battle for Mitsuki, potentially something happens with Kawaki, even if it's not for a long time, there is a payoff there, because there's going to be a sense of betrayal when Mitsuki joins the ranks of the people who know the truth about omnipotence. Now, the format of the manga and the fan expectations, unfortunately, this is another thing we have to talk about. It's kind of like the same thing that we have where people are going, oh my God, we got to wait 30 days. The release schedule is the release schedule. So Boruto Two Blue Vortex, following a monthly release schedule, and in particular being capped at 40 pages long in the magazine, because that is set by the magazine. And as I said before, for a monthly release, while there are some that get 60 to 80 pages, 40 pages being released every month with no breaks puts Boruto on the higher end in terms of all the monthly releases. So I went through this a few videos back. There are some series where they drop one chapter and it's 24 pages. If Boruto ever had a 24-page chapter, you guys would melt the fuck out. So this makes extended one-on-one fights impractical unless there is a huge payoff, which does not apply here, especially when, as the story is as it is right now, there are multiple threads that have to be addressed. However, fan reactions, in my opinion, they have been a bit inconsistent. So in early Boruto Two Blue Vortex, the complaints I was seeing all over the place is like, oh my God, the time skip's starting too fast. Boruto stealing too much of the spotlight. Sarada can take care of herself. Himawari can take care of herself. Why is Boruto showing up to save the day? And now people are saying, why aren't the side characters getting one-on-one fights? Why aren't we seeing Boruto show up here, even though we're told Boruto has to keep his distance from the battlefield? This, in my opinion, really mirrors what happens in Naruto's war arc when the manga chapters are coming out. So this would be like 2010, 2011. I'm getting nightmare flashbacks thinking about it. Fans, they were begging for side characters for so many years to get a primary focus, saying it was too much of the Naruto and Sasuke show. There were jokes that the manga should be called the Uchiha clan because everything seemed to be tied up with the Uchiha clan. But when Naruto and Sasuke were sidelined for a majority of the early part of the war in favor of showing the Shinobi Alliance, while Sasuke was getting used to Itachi's Sharingan being implanted into him and Naruto was learning to control the Nine Tails power, fans were complaining. Eventually, the narrative had shifted to Naruto and Sasuke as expected, and a lot of people were saying, oh man, you know, the war really got hype when Naruto versus Itachi happened and Madara showed up. Those are around the times that you started seeing Naruto and Sasuke show back up in the fights. If Mitsuki had a drawn out solo battle, fans would still complain that it was unnecessary or it took too much time from the main story. This current approach, it's giving him character moments without disrupting the manga's pacing, which that is the important thing. We went through the setup chapters to get to this point. That is why you are seeing someone like Sarada now take more of a primary focus. And even then, she's not going to go through, in my opinion, and have a hardcore one-on-one fight with Ryu. It is possible, but I think your more likely instance is that it's going to be a team battle. But based on the theme of this arc, especially with it being about love and emotions and the human heart, and Sarada having her own struggle, if you do go with Sarada, this was what we would call an earned payoff. In conclusion, I'll wrap up and I'll say this. Mitsuki's writing, in my opinion, when you take the emotions out of it as a Mitsuki fan, I like Mitsuki. It's not my favorite Boruto character, but I do like him. It has been strong and it has been consistent. His character has not been poorly handled, especially when you look at the off-screen stuff. How many times when Boruto Naruto Next Generations the manga was running were people saying the story forgot about Mitsuki? Instead, he has been giving meaningful growth. He's been shown with tactical showcase moments, and he's also been shown with philosophical introspection in a couple of points, whether it be Boruto challenging his ideology and he himself having that deep conversation with Ada, all while staying true to the Naruto franchise's emphasis on team-based battles. And if you are a Mitsuki fan, think about it for a second. Through the first 20 chapters, Mitsuki has popped up in quite a few. Whereas in Boruto, we went at one point a whole year and a half without even seeing Mitsuki in the manga. If anything, Boruto Two Blue Vortex, it has provided more insight into Mitsuki's emotions. It's allowed him to grow. We've seen more of his abilities than Boruto's original manga, Boruto Naruto Next Generations, ever did. While again, he might not have a major one-on-one fight, that isn't necessary for his character to remain compelling, especially within the framework of a series that has storytelling conventions already set. As a sequel, you want to try new things, but you also want to stick within the framework of what fans are already expecting. Expecting Mitsuki to suddenly become a solo fighting powerhouse goes against the very structure of the narrative itself. He does not have a payoff set up like how we saw with Konohamaru with the Matsuri stuff, where Konohamaru was fighting through his emotions. He hit that double giant Rasengan on her, and now we see where this goes next. But Konohamaru just had his moment. Mitsuki right now, there's not anything set for Mitsuki's one moment just yet. It feels like they're potentially saving that for the Kawaki stuff after. Think about to the first chapter. What was Mitsuki saying? Are you really my son? That betrayal is going to hit harder, and it's going to lead to Mitsuki eventually crashing out when he puts all the pieces together. Mitsuki's development has been handled within the confines of how Naruto's storytelling philosophy has been set up, as well as the monthly manga format that we have, and the thematic significance of teamwork in the franchise itself. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, clicking here on the left for the Boruto chapter review. If you've not seen it, click here up top for the latest video from my Everything One Piece Explained channel, or click here on the right for this video from my Anime Explained channel, where I talk about non-Naruto content.